Happy Monday.
Hello, hello.
Tomorrow, Election Day.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, I think
It's here.
it's finally here. I've got friends that have been counting down on Facebook since there was like 800 days to go or something like that. They've had that campaign going a long time.
I'm
And
I'm ready not to get 1,000 spam emails a day and
oh wow,
text.
the text messages and everything like that for sure. For sure, been getting a lot of that.
My son went out to get the mail, and I don't think I checked the mail on Saturday. And when I got home from my meeting, it was on the counter. I went through so much political stuff. I literally only had two things that were important: my water bill and
Yeah.
my electric bill. Everything else was junk, and 99% of that was political ads.
Two things requiring money and everything else begging for money. Right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I mean, like this big. It's
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
You have to excuse my cough. I've been dealing with sinuses all weekend, and I think it's all finally moved down to my chest, and which means I think it's on
Yes.
out of my system, which will be a good thing. So,
Yes, yes,
something
yes.
I
But
wanted to
but yes,
talk.
tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow's the day, which is Tuesday. Today is Monday, and I wanted to try something here for both of our listeners that may be watching today or tomorrow or whenever it may
All
be.
two of them.
All two of them. Um and just kind of some memes and things that I've picked up over the weekend. Try to keep fairly recent times, but I want to call it like a meme drop Monday, and
I like it.
it's been got of course having to go back and forth between a couple of screens here and get this all sorted. Um, the Harris campaign has been trying to, and it's like they can't decide. Do they want to be, go tough against MAGA, against Trump, and they started off trying to be a party when did they bring out the joy thing? When was that?
Uh-oh.
When did they bring out the
Uh-oh, we
trying to
froze.
make her the party of joy? You remember when that was?
That was probably, well, I mean, it can't be too long because she didn't have a dang campaign until what, 70 days ago?
She
She
has
wasn't
not
even a
had a
candidate.
formal um, a formal
Press conference.
in teleconference with media since the beginning, and
She had something this weekend. I saw it a brief moment where she was trying to answer some off the cuff questions, and it was almost as bad as Cardi B's teleprompter going down. It was, there we go. She didn't know the reporters' names, and she was just cackling a lot, and it was awkward, and I think it was ridiculous. It was
but
ridiculous.
she went quick from joy to what she's doing now, and she tried to finish her campaign speak with unity, and that didn't go well. She's been trying to distance herself from Biden as much as absolutely possible, and I don't know how well that is working out for her.
Would she try to do her joy thing? I feel like it went over just about as good as Hillary's when they go low, we go high. I mean, it didn't go over.
Right.
Campaign of joy. I mean, is it a Christmas card? I don't
Well, and
understand.
remember, all the celebs were using that. Were using that phrasing. They all had to use the
Yes.
keyword joy. As long as we all say it, they're the nonconformists that all have to talk alike. And I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes. Coming from,
Grew weary on me.
but it never really went over. I mean, the joy thing just it doesn't ring a bell because it's not about Christmas. It's not about joy. Um, it was silly. It was silly that she tried to do. I mean, she doesn't have a campaign slogan, does she? Is there a slogan somewhere?
Like hope and change.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Tough on crime? I mean, do they have a slogan?
No, they don't. Uh, not Kamala Harris. I'm not Joe Biden. Is that? I think that's about what she's got. Um,
Oh, something that struck me today, literally as I was driving home, because I was listening online. Do you find it strange, misogynistic,
I love a good
the
massage.
the is it because I'm going to ask all the answers, then I'll ask the question. Is it because people don't take her seriously? But why do you think everyone calls her Kamala instead of Harris? Every other candidate, we
He's
use
referred
their
to by
last
the last
name.
name. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Or,
Obama was Obama.
or both, JD Vance.
Um,
Right? Or am I wrong? Don't we
no.
always
You're,
go
you're that's a
by?
good. I haven't really thought about that. It's a moniker almost. Um, it's how she's recognized. Now,
Or do
I
we
hear
do
the
it
word
because
I
do
hear
we
the
do
word
it because we
Kamala, and I go
yeah.
back to my early days of watching wrestling when we only had three channels, and there was Kamala the Ugandan warrior. And I mean that I'm serious. When I first heard her name, that was the first image that conjured up in my mind. And I know there's people out there
I
that
don't
say,
remember him.
I know it's going back to the late '70s, early '80s, back in the
Oh,
days of
I was a wrestling fan, so I would have heard that would have been just I must have missed that one.
General Skandar Akbar,
Yes.
back in the old days. Jim Cornette, I think, was one of the folks, and
Andre
it,
the Giant?
Andre the Giant. It was in that era, but so I think
Yeah.
they
I don't remember that one.
that's how she's recognized, is by her first name. Harris, anybody can be, I guess, a Harris, but Kamala,
Or is it
is-
because they want us to think that it's an ethnic name?
um, I'm sure
Like
that came into play. I don't know that would really. I mean, as far as a marketing campaign, I mean, like on the SNL skit, I don't know if you saw that this weekend.
the one, yes.
They did a lot of the joking on the Kamala and the Pamela and the things that rhymed that they could make into Kamala,
Say
and it was
Kamala.
cringy, but and that's a whole different subject too. The whole SNL fallout that's going to come from that. No one's going to be held accountable with the FCC.
Did you see? So I guess Trump's going to get 90 seconds during the game tonight, the football game. Did you see that?
On what? ESPN?
On no, on ABC or whatever. What, because I guess the rule is both people have to get equal time or equal opportunity. They can decline it. So
Correct.
they are giving
No,
him
all opponents, I think, are supposed to. So Jill Stein
so
and whoever's running for the other parties, they're supposed to have access.
well, I heard, and I've seen it on two different legit channels, that he's going to get 90 seconds tonight during the Monday Night Football game to count for his equal time. We'll see.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
I mean, the thing they did with Kamala was just a repeat of what they did with Trump and Jimmy Fallon years ago. Because Democrats are not original. They have zero original thoughts. Their marketing is unoriginal. How many of campaign points of Trump's did she try to take as her own about the wall and taxes? And I mean,
All of them.
and I cannot believe. I don't want to believe. Let me say it like this. I don't want to believe that our country is so full of morons that have fallen for that. Some people just hate Trump, and I get it. He wasn't at the top of my list either in 2016. Um, but
The country is full of morons. Yeah, you have seen Idiocracy, right? The movie?
idiocracy, yes, yes.
Um, we're living in idiocracy at this point.
No, that's a true statement. That is a true statement. um,
Oh my gosh. I
yeah,
actually love that
it's
movie.
scary. It is scary what's going on. So hey, so I've got now that I know how to share some of this stuff.
Yes, we're getting fancy.
Let's see here. So what I've
Ooh.
got here is in the this is NBC News, so no one can accuse us of using um, Fox numbers. Not that I really give a shit if they are, but so just I'd written some of this down, and now that I know how to share the screen, almost 76.5 million votes have been cast already in
Wow.
in-person and early voting. So if I hover over, you can see that Texas, I believe, has the greatest number. Nearly 9 million early and mail-in ballots were cast.
Wait, I gotta see. So how many did we have last time? Because oh no, I
I
only
don't
have
know.
Collin
I
County.
didn't. I'm sorry. I don't think it's down here.
I pulled it for Collin County for 2020 so we can compare, but I don't have the whole state. But I will. You know, I'm gonna find it now. Okay,
Okay. So anyway,
keep
I just
going.
thought this was interesting here. Now in Hawaii, 44% of other registrations, 13% of Republicans voted, which we know Hawaii's not going to go for Trump. That's just it's. I don't know if when it's ever gone Republican. Um, Alaska will be more Republican, generally speaking. Now the West Coast, of course, is solid blue. That's for sure. Most of New England is solid blue. Um, and what I was watching yesterday or the day before, they say the states to watch is Georgia and North Carolina on elections.
Mm, okay.
See how those are going. If they're overwhelming one way or the other, then that may be an indication of where some of these battleground states are going to end up.
Okay, you said which states?
Georgia and North Carolina.
All right, Georgia. Georgia gets 16, and North Carolina gets
About the same?
16.
Yeah.
Both 16. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna be the old Dan. I'm gonna have a old school board with like Dan Rather because I'm not gonna be fancy on election night, and I'll be coloring them in.
I've got a dry marker board if you want to borrow it.
Yes.
But now, the polls that we're seeing, like right now, they're saying coming out of Iowa that Harris has taken a 3-point lead in Iowa. Now,
Iowa, random.
in Iowa, that's one of the
Wait.
things I saw this morning, and is that first of all, it's a poll. You know, and how many polls are accurate when it comes to predicting elections? I know you'll always see headlines and snippets on other articles. You know, prognosticator who selected the last 6 winners chooses this person, says this person's going to win. Then you got to go click. It's clickbait. So,
Yes.
but I think it's a bigger story than that, and so we'll see what it all gets decided. I guess by tomorrow night, or does it?
Tomorrow. Yeah. I also wonder. So, like, I mean, I've never registered as a Republican or a Democrat, but in Texas, it goes by your.
What your husband tells you.
Uh,
Yes, that's what some people are thinking. But no, that's not.
no. It goes by who you voted for in the primaries. That officially in Texas registers you because we don't have to register in Texas. So my question is, if I didn't vote in the primaries, then where does it go? Like all of our new voters, they're in Texas aren't registered.
If they haven't registered, yeah.
There is no registry in Texas. We don't register.
Your voter ID card doesn't count.
Well, so that's an eligible voter. I'm saying we don't register when you get a voter ID card. You don't say I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat like in some states. What registers us in Texas is your primary vote.
Okay.
Because when you go in to vote for the primaries, you have to say I'm voting Republican or Democrat, right? Because you only get the one ballot. That essentially registers us as a Republican or a Democrat.
All right.
But there could be 19, 18-year-olds who were not eligible to vote in the primary, so therefore they have not been designated as either one, but now vote. And I'm always curious about how does that work in other states? Or do you literally have to go in and say, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate this whole registered thing. That pisses me off.
I just want to make sure whoever's registering to vote is authorized and legal to do so.
Right.
Whatever the state's process is, each state, I guess, has their own hand in it.
I've got a friend coming in. Pause for 1 second.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am? What do you need? Ask Nathan. He's downstairs. Daddy's not here, so you have to ask Nathan. Okay? All right. You can have a little bit more noodles or chicken. Ask Bubba. All right. Close the door. And we're back. No, I see. Well, um, I'm just saying, like the registered for which party you are. Like
Okay, so
that's
yeah, party affiliation.
yeah. I just always think it's interesting, and because I know a lot of people who are independent, but meaning that they're not registered for independent because we don't do that in Texas.
Yeah,
But so they will either sit it out if they don't like the person, or they'll go in and vote.
yeah.
So like I hate that whole registered thing. Anyway, I think
Well,
that
my point in looking it up and some of the questions that I wrote, are the polls accurate? Which the margin of error when they give like 3.4%, what does that mean? As I
yeah.
go
Put
back
it
to
back
my
up there. I want to see it again.
okay,
I
it's
got
like
to
my
dig through
statement
it.
of
What is
last
it
week.
saying for Texas?
I didn't know there was going to be math, and I'm the one who
Come on now. You know I'm going to test you. That's
yeah.
what teachers do. What's it say for Texas?
So Texas has. I'm gonna have to get over on the other page here.
And is this a live? They
This
update it every
is
night?
as of, no. I believe this was as of the end of early balloting yesterday.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So 50% of Republicans have voted Democrat. Okay. And
And the
others.
other
See that? Oh, that's a
50%.
lot of others.
Yeah, but when I started looking at other states, there's 9 million in Texas. And it was 7.5 in California. New York, I think, was considerably small. Yeah, 2.8. Florida, 7.8, same as California, and then Illinois, which is always going to be blue, is just over 2 million. So I'm hoping that a lot of
And then
these
oh,
states that are what's that?
so what's the bottom? Roll down.
Uh,
Okay, what does that say? I
this
can't read it.
is mail-in and early person votes requested nationally, and then it goes down by state. I mean, it had several categories that we could look at it from. I'd written some of those down. The groups by
Ooh,
age. Let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger for us all to see. I don't know if that helps. Um, but in Texas, let's see here. So
I like it.
332,000 mail-in ballots requested. Um, so what is that basically telling us? Over 8 million people voted early.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. I mean, it just there's. I don't want to have to deal with on the day of, so I voted early for sure this time. Uh-oh. We got a storm coming. My
Anyway,
electricity's going in and
that's
out.
our attempt at using the graphics here a little bit.
Uh-oh.
We'll get
Uh-oh.
better at it as we go forward. Um, but we're going to start watching the results. First thing in the morning. Not that there's going to be anything to know other than exit polls. And did I lose you? Oh, lost power. All right. So my compadre has just lost power. We got here where we're at in North Texas. There is got some pretty good weather going on outside. When I say pretty good, that means it's storming. Doesn't necessarily mean it's good weather, but it's weather nonetheless. So I'll continue on and see if she will be able to join back with us. Again, this is the No Woke Zone. This is just a podcast. A couple of American patriots, friends through hockey. Our families are all good friends, and decided to put this together because we talk. Basically, what you hear us talking about here is what we talk about when we're around each other, and thought we would try to put that into a podcast. And if anyone enjoys it, they're more than welcome to follow along and agree, disagree. That's what makes this country great, is that ability to do so. And but anyway, I call it the No Woke Zone because woke to me is not a compliment. It's something they tried to turn it into people who knew what was going on. And it looks like she'll be back with us in just a minute, getting back on Wi-Fi. But being woke, I think, was just another term used to separate and divide people. And if you weren't woke, then you weren't knowledgeable. You weren't hip. You weren't cool. You weren't whatever they tried to turn that into. And I never agreed with it. And I don't believe in wokeness. I believe in what I think both sides will refer to as common sense, and that is things that are good for all people. But that's where we start to divide and have differences again, is when we think what we think is good for all people. Um, and I think it's really almost kind of an endless loop of problem and attempts at problem solving. Um, but yeah, I don't subscribe to the woke BS. I'm not a DEI fan. I believe your job, your position, your everything should be based on merit. And I
Hello?
believe we have Cheryl back. You there? Can you hear us? All
Gotta
right.
love a storm.
Yeah, it had a little bit of thunder out here about the time that everything went dark on your side of the screen there. I was
Sorry
just
about
telling
that.
our listener, or I could throw an apostrophe in there with an S, um, with regards to what the woke zone is. No woke zone is what it means to me, and why I
Yes.
use that phrase. So I just kind of filled in for some technical issues
I love
until
it.
we're back.
I love it. I love it. Where were we? I can't remember.
We were
Refresh
talking
my
about
memory.
polls, election polls.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
are
Yes.
they accurate? Can you trust them? Which ones can you trust? Because both candidates, you watch some of the talking head shows, the panels and whatnot, and they all will refer to their favorite pollster. One side will say, well, and I have no idea what any of these are, who they say, but Rasmussen poll. Okay, that's a name that I can think of.
Right.
And somebody will say, well, the Rasmussen poll has my candidate up by 6 points, and then blah 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 on these other things. And then someone else will come up. Well, the Quinnipiac poll shows that my candidate is up by 3 points. And it's
Right.
within the margin of error. Um, so
And I
we
could do a
go through this
poll.
every cycle too.
I mean, I could do a poll in a Baptist church and get one result, and do a poll
Yeah,
in a Methodist church and get a different result,
get a different result. Yeah,
or at a football game, or in a different city. I mean, it's just
yeah,
silly, you
yeah.
know.
It's
Um,
it's it's because, and we got to blame it all on CNN and 24-hour news cycles. Got to have something to talk about. Can't just cover the news
yes.
anymore. Can't just cover what's actually being said.
And as somebody who loves statistics, I can take numbers and almost make them say anything. I can mangle some numbers up real good.
Yep.
By changing the time, by changing the width. I mean, so many different ways that you can make it look and favor your position or candidate super easy. So I don't put a lot of stock into those. You know, I feel like they do it to try to change people midstream. I really I don't like voting early because I don't like how that stuff comes out and then the data you shared. And so if I'm
Yep.
in a state or an area where, oh crap, we've had, you know, well, or my candidate's one has more like, oh, mostly Democrats have voted, and so therefore there's no reason for any Republic. There's no way I can overcome this gap, or you know what I mean. And then it might people think, oh, it's a waste of my time because it's going to be a long process
That
tomorrow.
does happen. That does say 50% of Texans Republicans have voted. It doesn't
It's going
say
to be
who they
long
voted for or
tomorrow,
how they voted. It just says that 50% of Republicans have voted, and the other 50% were Democrats and others. What's that other 13% going to be?
right? I mean, tomorrow's going to be hard for people if they have not voted.
Yeah.
Last time I was messing with my husband. You got to go vote. You got to go vote. Got to go vote. And I had done it. I can't remember if in 2020 I did it early or I did it super early that morning because I have more flexibility. And he was like, he was supposed to go at lunch. And then what happens? You get into a stuck in a meeting. He didn't get to go at lunch. He didn't get to go. And so he waited in line for an hour and a half. He went mid afternoon. He didn't wait till after because I said, do not wait till after work. I think he got there finally, 2-ish, thinking it was going to be low. He sent me a picture. He's like, hellfire. I said, if you get out of line, I'm going to divorce you. Stay in that line.
This was
And
this in
an hour and a
Oklahoma.
half, Do what?
This was this year?
No, this was in 2020 on
That's
voting
what I
day.
thought.
He didn't
Okay.
vote early.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he learned his lesson though, because we went last week.
Right. Same as
I
us.
took him with me this time.
Right.
But I think it's going to be long, and I think that deters a lot of people. I mean, if I'm a mom or I got to go in, I have an hour in between
Yeah.
getting off work and picking up my kids or something.
And you drive by the polling places or the election places, and you see just cars upon cars upon cars, and it's dissuades you from, well, hopefully enough people that I know that vote like me are going to vote, and that'll count for something. But yeah.
And I
Um,
don't know if I've mentioned this to you, but do you think for the first time we've been out of school on voting day that I can remember? And
yeah, I was trying to figure out why the kids are out of school today and tomorrow.
I don't know. So I've been at campuses where I was we were a polling place. And it disrupts your whole staff. You have to put the staff parking somewhere. You have to have kids on certain entrances. And it's a small disruption. But if you're used to it, you're always the polling place. You just know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
But I wasn't quite sure if it was strategic or if it was because a safety issue or they were afraid there were going to be safety issues or cause, even more disturbance on school day. And this is why. Okay, so I'm a teacher. I used to go cover classes for my teachers to go vote. But it was hard because, we used to not be able to vote intra-county. Now we can. But if you live
Yeah.
outside of the county, they'd have to drive all the way home. And so I can't cover a class for 3 hours.
Right.
So then our teachers that's a deterrence for them. They can't vote on that day. So it's nice for them to be able to be off work and go vote. But then all of our parents now have kids at home. So now if you're a parent of a little kid, you can't take little ones. I mean, you could take a few, but does that mean that now parents don't get to go vote? Primarily moms don't get to go vote. I
Yeah.
don't know. What are your thoughts?
I,
Or
you
was
know,
it safety for our kids?
yeah. I mean, my parents always voted. Of course, I grew up as a latchkey kid, as many in the '70s and early '80s did, and I remember my dad back in the election in either '84 or '88. And where I'm from is a very small town, and the population is probably close to 50-50 white people and Native Americans, as some people call them, American Indians. And it was one of the campaigns that Jesse Jackson was running in.
Oh, Lord.
And I think it must have been in the Democrat primary, since Jackson was never really a viable candidate. But I think Dad had said, I remember Dad voted for Jesse Jackson,
Oh, interesting.
because he wanted to be the one person that voted for Jesse Jackson in our town. Well, 18 other people voted for Jesse Jackson and kind of ruined his, wanting everyone
His
to go around,
plan.
who voted for Jackson? Who voted for Jackson?
Oh my
And
gosh.
Dad said, man, they run my story that he was going to be able to tell.
The one
And
person.
and I think my dad was largely Republican. I don't know that he grew up that way, but a lot of times our kids end up growing up and voting the way we do. I don't think my older kids are like that right now, or anyone that's got millennials. Their kids probably have an opposite viewpoint just by nature of things. But why parents don't vote? Yeah, I mean, it's some people just don't care. They're just not bothered by politics. And you
I
find
just
that
didn't
whole
know if you thought there was any strategy in having no school on
having no school.
election day.
Well, having no school leads. You'd think it leads to no excuses, but if your job depends on if your job needs you to have your kids in school so you can do your job, then that could be a problem. That could be a bigger problem.
And can you go vote when it's
You take the kids to go vote. I don't remember seeing a lot of kids when I voted the last couple of 3 election cycles.
I
Well,
took my oldest in 2016 because it popped up on my memories, but we went on a Saturday and did early voting and we
yeah,
sat down by a Trump sign and took a picture. And it's okay. You can take kids in. They just have to, follow the rules. But I mean, if you're a mom of, say, like 3 little ones under the age of 5,
yeah,
they're just going to say, "Pfft, that's too much work. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't know.
well,
I just didn't know if anybody thought that was a deterrence. I mean, obviously, yes, you can pre-plan and go in early,
I don't think
but
it's going to impact a lot of people, but then again, I'm not living in their shoes, so I don't know um, how hard it is. I mean, I've been a dad of young ones, and but it's I'll find a way. I'll go vote myself, and then my wife will go vote if that's what we have to do.
right.
Or if one of the older kids is old enough to watch them for 30 minutes to an hour, then okay,
Yeah.
we'll do it. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
can be done if and I think it should be important enough to each individual to vote. And I like the
Hmm.
saying, if you don't vote, don't bitch.
Right.
Um, if things don't go your way, you got no dog in the hunt.
Hmm.
Um, and because
But
that's the
clearly, there are a certain amount of people who still like to vote on election day. Otherwise, they would have already
and that's
voted.
fine. That's fine. I think most
So,
people look at early balloting and absentee balloting as just one more thing you have to do to add to your list of many things that a person has to do in any given day. When I worked
hmm,
overseas, I did the absentee ballot, um,
right.
but,
Yeah.
but I don't have to do that now.
Yes.
I've
Thankfully.
downloaded some video clips also. I wanted to see
What you
if I could get
got?
these to work. Um, let's see here. I'll try with Joe Biden getting angry. Old Scranton Joe, you know, popping up this weekend, and I don't and
Biden
we'll check
kids?
this out here. What's that?
Biden kids?
Well,
Biden
he was
Biden?
angry. Now he looks like he's about to bite something here. I'll show you. Um, let's see here. Let's see if I don't know if the audio will play, but we'll give it a shot. Let me.
Let's see.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
Yeah, what's he mad about?
Well,
Who's
he
he
was he
smacking in
was
the
talking.
ass?
Look at that snarl there. Um, that's old angry Joe. I don't know if he's more angry that Trump is running or that he doesn't get to run against him because they kicked him out of the race. But he was just
What's he
talking
mad
about
about?
he was talking about just Republicans in general.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
And so, wow, there's our
Just
president.
smack him in
And
the ass. Just smack him in the ass.
yeah, he's boy's got issues. You know,
I've never even heard anybody say that. I might say I want to stab somebody, punch them in the face, but smack them in the
smack him in the
ass?
face, smack him on the ass. I know that I heard Gutfeld and Jesse talking about smacking each other on the ass, as they walk in to do the five or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's what you do to your buddies.
Yeah. And then now
Oh my
Doug
gosh.
Emhoff has been out campaigning for his wife.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
Kamala
Play
did
it.
what Kamala always,
let me start that over for you.
Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
I gotta play that again.
That's
Kamala did
hilarious.
what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
Put her head down and went to work. How about that? Does
And
what
you
she always
know,
does.
as soon as those words came out of his mouth, he was like,
You
oh
gotta think.
God, I'm dead.
You gotta think, right? You gotta think. Yeah, he's just the stuff that's gone on. Um, that you know, yeah. Trump had an issue getting in that garbage truck. I saw that he missed the door handle a couple of times. I've done that getting in and out of stuff, where I was kind of standing at a bit of an awkward stance and for whatever reason, and I'm half well, not quite half his age now, but I've missed a door and that's what
Well,
Trump did. They seized on it as they should in campaign season.
I did not see that one, but I kind of pulled back this past week from the news a little bit. But like I said the other day, it's just like kids and doing stupid stuff on college campuses. There's videos everywhere now. The more that
Yeah,
people are out, we're going to have more of those mistakes. They want, it's like we want our candidates to be seen as real people, but then they're going to do some real people stupid stuff. Skirts are going to blow up. You're going to miss a chair. You're going to miss a stare.
yeah,
You're going to say something you wish you hadn't. So I mean, and I think you just gotta laugh at him, right? I mean,
Well,
like
if you
we
can
all
laugh,
know what Doug meant. She's
you
working
can laugh
hard.
at
She's getting
yourself. You
stuff
can laugh at other
done.
people. Harris can't laugh at
Yes,
herself.
she can laugh at everything with her fake laugh.
Yeah. Oh God, don't even try. I'd rather hear Yoko Ono
Oh, geez,
trying
that's
to
bad.
trying to sing or laugh. Um,
Oh man.
I've got another clip I wanted to
Okay,
play.
what you got?
This is from. Let's see, I don't know if it's from Maysmore. I think credit will pop up in it. I'd like to make sure that if somebody had put this together, and this was on how they've been carrying over the story about Trump saying, "I'm going to do it whether women like it or not." All right. Have you heard any of the,
Oh,
of the fallout from Trump saying this? I'm going to do it whether the women want it, like it or not. Okay. So,
a
so what we're gonna
smidge.
do, I'm gonna play this, and and just listen to what is being said
Okay.
here.
They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say. I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. 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 I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not.
So I'll stop it right there before we continue. They're talking about he's going to prosecute women for abortions, whether the women like it or not. You saw the headlines there.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is if that isn't misinformation, disinformation, nothing is. Here's the rest of it.
Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, including savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women and girls. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office. And my people told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. So why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said. They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
And so that, of
Yes.
course, is being looked. He said nothing wrong. Everything he said was factually
No.
accurate, and it had nothing to do with abortion.
With
But that
abortion.
you saw those headlines right there, how they took that and have turned that into what they're. And it's again that it's infuriating to me, and this is why people got pissed off back in 2020. The Hunter Biden laptop had already been proven to be what it was in 2019. But whoever was the CIA or the FBI, that the FBI had dealt with it. 51 people come out and signed. Oh no, it's false. It's Russian disinformation. This was, again, I don't want to be among the group that says that the election was stolen in 2020. But you're going to have a harder time proving to me that it wasn't than that it was. I believe that there was a lot that went on that gave Biden a win. And I'm going to put that in quotes. Granted, we are almost to the end of that 4 years, and America is not better off since that time. It has steadily
No.
gone downhill. What they've worked so hard. Every time I hear a Pelosi or a Schumer or the Cackler or anyone else, but all the work that must be done that's been done. What, pray tell, what the fuck has gone on? What has benefited my family? Because that's who I care about. What's
Right.
benefited each individual's family? I know that the cost of living has gone up. I know the taxes have increased. I know that we still get by, and I'm not complaining. I know that I'm in a lot better shape than a lot of people.
Sure.
And I'm, like a lot of folks too, I'm willing to go where I need to go to work. I'm willing to go do what needs to be done. Same, for my wife, she'll go and do what she's got to do. And so,
Right.
because of that, we're able to live a better life than some. Some people it's just not there for them, and they struggle. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, the
what a
people
big
that were already, I mean, like I checked my grocery bill in July. I had spent $1,700 at Tom Thumb in 1 month. And now we did, it was summertime. Yes, you could say, we had spent more than we knew should or normally do. But I
and they
tracked
don't
it.
sell
I have been
vodka.
spending,
Yeah,
they don't have vodka.
no,
That
no.
wasn't my Walmart bill where I
Yeah,
get, paper goods. That wasn't my Amazon where I get, yeah, like cleaning stuff, all that. This was just Tom Thumb. Now I tracked it. Typically, I spend between 1,000 and 1,300 a month for 5 people. Okay, that's a crap ton of money.
yeah,
Um, and so I'm already scrimping and saving as much as I can. But when I saw that, I mean, my eyes nearly bugged out of my head.
yeah,
And think about now we did, like I said, we had some pool parties, we had a birthday party, but I mean, I'm not eating filet mignon over here.
right.
I cook like regular food. But it's ridiculous. I had a friend post a couple weeks ago. She had the identical receipts because she pulled up an old Walmart delivery and it
Yeah,
was double,
really.
double.
Wow.
I mean, this is literally somebody I know as well as I know you. So this
Yeah,
wasn't some fake thing or whatever. And I mean, and again, she didn't have anything crazy. It was fruit and meat and pasta, normal stuff that everybody's buying. And I mean, ridiculous, ridiculous the amounts that we are paying. And that's across the board. That's everything, everything. So I don't know. I mean, I watched The Mules by Dinesh. Um,
yeah. 2,000 meals.
yeah, we watched that. The, it's like that, it's that saying where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah,
There's too many unknown things to say that nothing happened. Do I know all of the things they're claiming happened? No, but there clearly were, I believe, votes that were counted that should not have been counted because they didn't follow the rules. I definitely believe that. And then as a smart person would say, why did people choose to break the rules to get those votes in? Did they know? Were they, different things like that? Like you're only supposed to do one person, one ballot for your mail-in votes. Why is
yeah.
someone coming with a bag of 200 ballots?
At 3 a.m.
Was it as a retirement community? Okay, then they could just use their regular mail service. Like what was the reason here? And I do think it's important to have conversations about that. Like, was this a legitimate person trying to be kind and going around and getting 200 church members' ballots? Wink, wink. Or was this someone going around and coercing 200 old people to vote in a certain way?
Yeah,
And I think that's important. My mom started getting confused, last year, and
yeah,
she would start telling us these random things, right? It's just pieces. Um, hey, do I need to get a mail-in ballot? And I'm like, no, Mom, I'm gonna take you just like I did last time. Okay. Like, why are you worried about that? Well, some people came. Okay. What did they say? Well, I can get a mail, and I was like, Mom, do not register for a mail-in ballot. I will take you. And it made me nervous to the point where my sister was like, okay, if she says that one more time, we're going to put a sign on her door that says, do not enter if you want to talk about ballots. But clearly there's people going around. Now, I do think it's important to communicate that to elderly people or people who are in a home and can't move, hospital people, like, yeah, you can. But we just weren't sure. Was she being pressured? And she kept
yeah.
bringing it up. So we knew she was nervous about it. Now, of course, she passed away, so she's not voting. But
Right.
I'm going to go in and make sure she didn't vote.
Yeah. She's not voting Republican. Yeah,
But it made me wonder, like, I don't know. So there definitely were some, like I said, some of those votes that I think should not have been counted if they don't follow the damn rules.
and it goes back to the hanging Chad thing between Gore and Bush. That came down to it. If it was that difficult. Now, if I remember right, there were a lot of military ballots that weren't counted, I think, during that election.
Okay, so I didn't know this. The military votes never get counted till after.
Till after. I did. That sounds familiar. That sounds. I think I
I
did
guess
know
there's
that.
never been, these statisticians know. So it's such a small amount that they only count them if there's a small difference and they need to kind of like double check numbers. So many years they're not even opened.
So
Yeah, I saw that this weekend.
you saw this. Okay, so Amuse is a guy that I follow on X. Um, that the stockpile of absentee ballots have been depleted and not been replenished, making it difficult, if not impossible, for troops to vote. What a bunch of horse shit. Um, if that is what happened, if that is what happened, that's just
Yeah.
that's just. Tell me what we're not seeing is just a slow moving coup of power. What I think we're seeing, and I'm just going to speak off the cuff here, I think what we're seeing is a continuation in what may be the final step in fundamental transformation. I don't care, you can call me a conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat wearer, QAnon, whatever. I believe when Obama uttered those words, we're just days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. He didn't mean it as a campaign promise. To me, I always have looked at it as a threat, and in that, and he's been very successful at it. I'm going to show you this.
You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe. Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won.
So
He's right.
if I didn't take the time to research and see if this was an actual speech, because in the day of AI, I don't know. It's
No,
something
that sounded like him, and he's very smart. I mean, it's the truth. It's the chaos theory.
It's Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. I don't know if you had a chance to look that up.
Not yet.
That
I
right
need
up.
to read it.
Need to look that guy up. He Rules for Radicals. That's one of the things that.
Now, I sent you two things this weekend. I sent you one, which was my friend. Now, she's a Democrat,
Yeah.
and she posted that she was going in to vote, and she had a problem with her ballot, not for the presidential, but she was trying to vote for governor, and it kept every time she would click on the Democrat, it kept popping up for Cruz. And she said she played with it, like push really hard, push really light, rub it, like she was trying to get the right thing. And she finally got it to go. And then she posted something that had put out by a Democratic, Tarrant County, that they were having issues. And now we're at the point where it's like, I feel like both sides are trying to set it up like, oh, there's problems. I'm seeing it on both Republican and Democrat. Now,
Yeah.
I trust my friend. I know that she wouldn't put that out there if it didn't happen. Just like I sent you the video of the person who kept trying to click on Trump. It wouldn't choose either. And then they finally clicked the final time on Trump and it popped up for Biden. And it's how many times have we been on something, right? You're clicking away, trying to get your groceries to pop up, and it's like you can't select one. It would only let you get two. There's things. Yeah, this is the video.
I'd like to think that the sensor right there. Wow, look at that.
Yeah. And it's like, we know that there's going to be problems like that. I'm surprised he was able to get his phone out, because usually they're watching you like a
Well,
hawk.
I think he was trying to hide it there at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
To,
So it's like at this point, we're just these little minions where we don't know what to
Minions,
believe.
no minion. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, what is true? I mean, like I've said, if you were watching MSNBC all the time and you really thought they were a legit news organization, you would hate Trump because of what they post on there that he says. And they twist it all up. And that's not right. I mean, if he said something crazy, just post what he said
Yeah.
and just show it for the whole world to see.
Right.
Otherwise, don't do like that video that you just showed of him saying, I want to do it if the women don't like it. And I say that about men all the time. Men can jump off a cliff. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Well,
Yeah.
you could, like, then you could phrase it, turn it into something else. That's what I hate. That's what I hate. On both
Yeah,
sides. I don't like it on
it's-
either side.
I want to see what others are saying about that clip, what they've done. I mean, that is just blatant misrepresentation.
Did you see what they're doing? The Harris, so she made 2 different videos about Gaza and October 7th. So
Okay,
she
no, I
made a
haven't.
video. Okay, I'm gonna have to send this to you. So her video that she was doing for Pennsylvania, I believe it was Pennsylvania, that had more Jewish people, she clipped out how she said that Israel should always have the right to defend itself and we're, their number one allies and whatever. For areas that had a higher Muslim population, she put in basically the same kind of, background stuff, but the video was where she talked about the children and the women in Gaza who were having, that getting the sucky end of the war, right? And how and it's just like, I hate that crap.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can't get that for us real quick.
And yes, yes, those poor women and children, yes, I feel for them. But it's just like those clipping little things and just sending the perfect little sound bite to the people.
I'll
Which
have
one are you
that for
trying
us
to pull
in a
up?
second. So she's running two ads saying 2 different things, but with the same data in it.
Yeah.
I gotta say I'm not surprised by
Yeah.
that.
I mean, and I get it. Of course, when you come to Texas, like her, when she goes anywhere, she's going to try to switch around her accent. You're going to try to make a connection with those people and say that you love tacos and hamburgers and you can ride a cow, you can ride a horse. You're going to try to make some connection with those people. But I just thought that was pretty
Hang on,
either really smart or really slimy,
Well, it's some will say
because
it's
it doesn't
all
show what the
all-
policy is.
Say it again.
She doesn't say what her policy is. I mean, that's why nobody knows what her policies are. It's just like fracking. It's just like the wall. It's just like deportation. I
Phil
got clips
Murphy
from both sides.
Phil Murphy, the governor for New Jersey, was just talking about. It was on a show on CNBC, I think, over the weekend, and the host was asking him, "So, which of her policies do you endorse?" And he couldn't name one.
No.
He thought he was wading into a friendly show, and the guy started firing off good questions, and Murphy was like, let's see here. I'll play a little bit of this. We'll see what how this goes here.
Tonight, mixed messages. A K-file investigation this hour finds Kamala Harris is targeting crucial battleground voters with vastly different messages on Gaza and Israel. This ad is running in Michigan, which has the largest Arab population in America.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering,
Hang on.
and I will not be silent.
I can hear it good.
It's a very different story for an ad in Pennsylvania targeting Jewish voters.
Let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7th.
Different message. Andrew Kaczynski is out front now. So, Andrew, those obviously do sound.
Even CNN sees it.
Say the least.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what you.
Well, this
Yeah,
probably
that's
show.
right.
I don't know who
It
this
really
this
illustrates
this
the
lady
sort of
is, so
fine
it's
line that the
probably
Harris
on at
campaign is
3 in the
trying to walk
morning.
here in the closing weeks, closing days of this campaign.
No, she's not. She does not like Trump. I've watched her before. She does not like Trump.
They're getting
Um,
different messages. They're often
but she's smart.
very opposing
Yeah.
views on.
She's
So-
smart, and you can see it's like they need to go back and watch the Mr. Miyagi clip. Daniel-san, it's not. You must choose side, otherwise you squish grape.
Yeah. No, that's good. I'd forgotten about that. You must decide on
I mean,
that.
do like you can't be in the middle. You got to figure it
Not
out.
that
You're
you're
either this
opposed
or
to
you're
any
this.
grape squishing, but
If it turns into wine.
turns into wine. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's
Well,
just so much information and so little time to do anything about it now. In fact, there's really nothing we can do. Is there anything that a candidate can say? Do you think there's really any undecided voters out there right now?
No, but I think there's a lot of people who may not put much effort into voting tomorrow. That's my fear. I feel like all the people that are really one way or the other for their candidate have probably already voted.
They with all the early votes. Mm-hmm. It's the undecided.
I'm glad.
So,
I'm ready for tomorrow to be over because I'm tired.
yeah. And so this will be our last podcast. Probably before I'll try to find some time later this week. But I predict for a Harris win, there will be a peaceful transition of power. The issues will just be what kind of daggers is Jill Biden going to give Kamala, whatever her name is, as she knows that Kamala was behind her husband getting booted. Of course, Jill was also behind her husband still staying in the race when he should have never been. They should have let him, for the Democrats, if they had any sense at all, would have said, all right, Joe, you need to step down and let her take over the last 6 months and let her build her name, build her reputation. But then again, they knew, God, she's such a cluster. They knew better. And they picked her as vice president so that Joe would never get impeached. That's why she picked Tim Walz in case she gets elected. I mean, he's a bigger goofball than she is.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? Can you imagine if she was president and something happened to her and he freaking had to take over?
And his wife became first lady. That's just, it's all done. That's just, to me, Rome has burned, at that point. Now, if Trump wins, there will be absolute chaos starting tomorrow night if it looks like he's the clear winner. And it's going to last for a while. And then it'll pick back up again going into inauguration. There will be articles of impeachment filed already before he even gets there, and he's got to fight that bullshit again. And they keep talking about the journalists and the talking heads keep worried about he's going to put us in jail. Well, not if he didn't do anything that doesn't warrant.
Yeah.
Being put. He's not
How about don't break
creating new-
laws?
Yeah. He doesn't give two shits who Joy Behar or Whoopi Goldberg or Sonny Hostin is or what they say about him. He doesn't
Right.
lose any over that. So
No.
for them to think that their jobs are at risk, they put themselves up on a pedestal that they don't belong on. And,
Or have they done something that we don't know about?
well, there's that. Trump. I think it was Harris or Hillary that was talking about. Oh man, it is pouring down outside.
I know it's getting crazy.
Was it one? Which one of them was it that was talking about the political hit list? He's got his enemies on a list. Well, I'll tell you what, he may have some justification because of some of the shenanigans that have gone on. Hillary should be in jail, no question about it, no ifs, ands, or buts. She
Absolutely.
just pick one topic out of many, and I can think of probably 5. Starting with the server, starting with the
Her list.
the portfolio that they had done, the Russia thing, Russiagate. Just the number of people that have disappeared that were anti-Hillary. That Vince Foster, That's just three off the top of my head I can think of.
The number of girls that she allowed her husband to sexually abuse,
Yeah.
or that she covered up for him afterward, should be enough to put her in prison.
Yeah. She is the epitome of vile. And, I want to
Absolutely.
look on her face when she hears the hound hell's coming for her, because they wouldn't.
Exactly. I sleep at night. I know I haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, I will
so-
try to. If you are available tomorrow night, we'll pop on. If not, we'll find some time in the next couple days for a podcast, regardless of what happens tomorrow.
There'll be plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
But I'll anyway, we'll sign off and talk about that real quick. But this has been the No Woke Zone with Matt and Cheryl, and bad weather and pre-election night coverage, and we will trying a few new things here with video and
Yes.
some audio. Gonna keep trying a few new tricks and improving the
You're
podcast.
fancy. I like it.
And it's fun, if nothing else. Even if we're the only ones watching, I still have fun doing that. And it keeps me on top of the current events. But
Yes,
anyway,
me too. I enjoy.
if you haven't voted, tomorrow's the last day. So get out and do
Get
it.
your butt on that pole. Do
All
it.
right.
All right. Bye.